EB English Music.
I know it's been a while, but Studio Talk is back. Hey, this is the Englishman of EB English Music, and it feels so good to say welcome back to another Studio Talk vlog. Now, I've been away for a while, I know. In fact, it's been over a year since I posted my last Studio Talk video, and that is mainly because 2020 has been all about me joining KFM 94.5, which is where I'm doing the lunchtime show, weekdays 12 to 3, and I'm also doing Saturday breakfast, 7 to 10 a.m. And on top of that, also 2020 has been dominated by the global pandemic. So here I am back with a very important Studio Talk vlog because I know that artists have been struggling throughout 2020 because you have no gigs, or if there were gigs, it's few and far between, and you're thinking this is maybe where radio needed to step up a bit in order to play more South African music so that more royalties can be generated for South African artists. And maybe you were a little bit disappointed that your song either didn't get the airplay that it should have, or even gotten airplay at all. And I don't think it's something that you need to necessarily blame on radio, and I'm going to explain why. The first thing that you need to remember is when you are making your music, let me remind you, as a music maker myself, but also as a radio personality and somebody that's worked in the music industry for quite some time, is that when you are busy making your music, then focus on the music. I don't want anything to distract you from that. I don't want you to think about radio. I don't want you to think about promo. I don't want you to think about algorithms. I don't want you to think about Spotify playlists and music blogs and all of that. I just want you to focus on the music when you are busy making the music. All right? So all that creativity, all your ideas, your experimentation, pouring it out from the heart, having fun, whatever it is, whatever kind of music that you are making, just focus on making the music when you are in the moment, when you are in the studio, when you are collaborating with other music makers. Just focus on the music. Step number 2, when the music is done, when the song is done, that is when you need to stop thinking emotionally about the song and start thinking of it as a product. When it comes to the music business, from that point you are leaving the music side of things and you're heading into the business side of things. So it's very important for you to think like a business person when it comes to that stage when you are pushing the song and promoting the song, and especially when you're thinking about sending it to radio so that you can get radio airplay. So now the next thing that I want you to think about is when you are thinking of your song now as a product, I want you to stop thinking of a radio station as a radio station. I know that sounds sort of like counterintuitive, but stop thinking of a radio station as a radio station and start thinking of a radio station as a supermarket. When you think of it as a supermarket, if you look at a supermarket and the supermarket's primary objective, as is any business, is to make a profit. It's to make revenue, it's to make profit because it needs to cover its costs, it needs to pay salaries, and it needs to be profitable so that it can expand eventually, maybe have a chain of supermarkets. All right? If it doesn't tick all these boxes, it is not going to survive. It is going to close down. In the same way, when you think of commercial radio stations, which is where you want your song to play because it's going to get maximum exposure, you need to think of these radio stations as supermarkets. Now, is a supermarket going to put a product on the shelf that its customers are not familiar with? Secondly, if it is going to put a product on its shelves that the customers don't really know about, is it going to use a lot of shelf space for that product? Answer is no. So what do supermarkets do? All right, you have to pitch your product to the supermarket, and if it's a cool product, they are going to test it with their consumers first. So there's going to be a testing phase to see if they're going to like it. If they like it, they'll increase the shelf space that's needed for that product because it's about supply and demand. Now, again, I want you to go back to the creative process. This doesn't mean that you need to change your song so that it can suit a market and then you're not being authentic and you're not being yourself. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you make the music that you want to make and then you find the right market where it's going to succeed. And that is going to be trial and error. You will get rejected. Your song will not get playlisted. That is part of the process until you find the right market that's going to accept you for who you are, and then you exploit that market. Then you increase the supply to where the song is demanded. And that is how you look at your song as a product. Now, in the same way, radio stations have to think about the money that they're making. They have to think about the profit because they have overheads, they have costs, they have rental, they have salaries that they need to pay. And if they don't succeed in ticking all these boxes, the radio station will close down, and then you don't have a radio station that will play your song. And if this happens to more radio stations, we're not going to have commercial radio stations. We're only going to have community radio stations. And it only benefits you when they make money. You're thinking to yourself, yeah, they're only thinking about making money. They have to, because the more money they make and the more they play your song, the more money you make in terms of royalties, because that is how it works. A percentage of their revenue is paid over to Samro so that Samro can distribute that royalty to you. So the more money they make, the bigger the percent. Well, the percentage is standard, like 3 or 4% of annual turnover, right? But the more the turnover is, that 3 or 4% translates into more money, which means you make more money at the end of the day. And this is what I want to end off in terms of this video. I want you, when you're promoting your song, I want you to explore all other avenues except radio. Radio needs to be your last resort. Again, if you look at the supermarket scenario, you have a product and you exploiting it everywhere else, right? Social media, all the other avenues that you can use to promote your product before going to the supermarket. And now the supermarket is seeing that, wow, this product is really blowing up. So we need to get this product on our shelves. In the same way, radio is going to work like that as well. If your song blows up everywhere else besides radio, radio is going to pick up on it. It's like, wow, this is the new TikTok sensation. This is going viral on Instagram. This is being used in almost every YouTube video. People are posting videos on social media with them dancing or singing along to this song. Think Jerusalem challenge, right? Now radio stations are going to be like, we have to play the song because it's blowing up. Then they actually come to you looking for your song. In turn, you're going to actually get more radio airplay. Now, this might not be the case for every single song. You're also going to have to concede to that. There are going to be some songs that are going to do better than others. But that doesn't mean that you need to stop making music either. So you continue making music because of all the successful music makers out there, they will all tell you for every hit that they've released, there's probably 10 to 100 songs that they've written that hasn't even seen the light of day, that was never going to be successful. So let's recap quickly. Step number 1, when you are making the music, think only about making the music and making the best music that you can possibly make, that's true to you, that's authentic to you. Step number 2, once you have finished the mixing and mastering of that song and the cover art, and you've done maybe a music video, etc., then think of that song as a product. And you are going to exploit every other market and means to promote that song besides radio. And then radio, step number 3, should be your last resort. Hopefully, if your song blows up enough, and hopefully if your song generates as much interest and resonates with enough people, that radio will come to you wanting to playlist your song and wanting to put it on high rotation, which translates into more exposure for your song, which translates into more royalties for the songwriters and composers that have contributed to that song. I hope that this video helps you in your music promotion process. to think about how you need to change your mindset when it comes to radio airplay. And when you're thinking that your song is rejected by a radio station, it doesn't necessarily mean that your song is bad. No, it does. Please do not think that. Maybe in some cases the song is bad, but in most cases it's not that the song is bad. It's just that you need to think about it as a business and the market. Is there going to be a demand for the song, and does it test well with the consumer? That is how you need to think about it. Once you can create that separation, it's also going to be better for your mental health. So I hope this video helps. Please, if you do like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with as many music makers as possible, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next Studio Talk vlog.
Ooh, bet the Englishman.